Konnichiwa minasan, Kitsapalooza ni yokoso.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gitsapalooza. Tonight, my son Carl, say hi, Carl.
Hello.
And I are going to be playing a 100 rice game. This scenario is one of the new ones that should come out in the tournament pack pretty soon. It's called Ninki, and it's a 6. So in the scenario pack that I have, which is still beta, these are 650 millimeter objectives. However, nobody has 650 millimeter objectives, and since I run tournaments, I would need like 36 or 40, or anyway, I'm not going to have that many. So I have rejected the 50 millimeter objectives and replaced them with regular idols, which I think is okay because this scenario does have simple interactions in it, and typically you don't get simple interactions with the big 50s. So anyway, we're playing with what I have, basically, is what it comes down to. I only have 2 of the big 50s, so that's what we're sticking with here. So you can see the Gorinto here are 3 of the idols, and these little Japanese gravestones here are 3 of the other idols. I am, sorry, got my guys lined up. You'll see that when I get to the doing the armies. So the way that Ninki works, and you'll excuse me, I'm going to refer to a sheet here. So you have baseline deployment. You've got 6 scenario objectives, 2 friendly, 2 neutral, and 2 enemy. So they're facing in each of the possible directions. Obviously, the enemy's on the other side. Carl's enemies are on my side. You have simple influence, and you have 5 prayer tokens. So the victory conditions are 1 victory point to the player with the most scenario points during the end phase of turn 2. So the scenario points in this case are earned by doing the praying. So at the end of turn 4, you look to see who has the most scenario points. At another victory point will be assigned to the player at the end of turn 6 who has the most scenario points. And then also at the end of turn 6, you've got 1 victory point for the player with the most friendly scenario objectives in the end phase of turn 6. So it's kind of I mean, it's not super complicated, but it is a little tricky, and it's outside the box compared to the normal scenarios that we're all used to. Because if you try to turn the idols early so that you can get a leg up on that 3rd victory point, then you lose those idols to pray at for high points. Because, of course, any idol that you turn, if you pray at an enemy idol, it's worth 3 points. But if you turn that idol to make it neutral, now it's only worth 2. And if you turn it again to make it friendly, which is what you need for that last objective point, now it's only worth 1. So I think the trick here is trying to pray early. Get whatever points you can early in the game by praying at either neutral or opposing idols. And then as soon as you are prayed out, or you're confident that you've prayed as much as you can, you start spinning idols. Of course, the disadvantage of that is if you spin an idol and make it friendly to you, you also spin it so that it becomes an enemy idol for your opponent. So if they can jump on it and they still have prayer tokens left at the end, they can pray at it for 3 points each. So that's a real kick in the teeth. So I've done this scenario once or twice. I ran it at the last tournament up here in Madison. People didn't seem to have a problem with it, but it takes a lot more thought than just the standard 6 idol scenario. So we'll see how it goes. The games that I've played with it, people tend to pray out their prayer tokens pretty early, and then that leaves them free to turn idols for the last victory point. But we'll see what Carl and I decide to do. He hasn't played this scenario before, so it'll be interesting to get his take on it. 6 turns, and that's pretty much it. So I will we'll take a look at the armies and see what's up. I'm playing my Bakemono tonight. Only the 2nd time I've had them out. Don't expect much. The learning curve is still very huge. And it's pretty late, so I don't know how far we'll actually get tonight. We may call it at some point and finish this game up tomorrow morning. But so if the lighting changes in between rounds, you'll know why. Anyway, Carl set up this beautiful table, And we are good to go. So I will be back in a moment with the armies, and then we'll get on to deployment. Here is 100 rice of Bakemono, and to answer your questions, why is there a Gretchen with a standard in the middle of the group? Well, the Gretchen, I love Gretchen number one. I'm an old 40K player, and this is a Forge World model that goes along with a mech. I have a totem pole for these guys, and I haven't built one yet that would be appropriate. So I'm just using this little grotty. The base is irregular, but for our purposes, it'll be just fine. So I've got 3 characters. I've got Hiratsuna, the ninja, over here. I've got Track, who is my samurai. And I've got Trepang, who hands out stuns. I don't know what else he does, but I know that much. And then I've got 2 of the Rinsho. Those are the guys in the armor, the kind of reed armor. And they're actually quite good. They're not cheap. They're 16 points a pop. But they're 3 dice. They're just pretty good. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see the figures a little better. These, so far, I've kind of taken shortcuts on them for the most part. Not on their skin, but when it comes to getting their weapons or their clothes. Actually, I didn't take any shortcuts on Hiratsuna either. But for the rest of these guys, their clothes and armor, I just basically painted with an undercoat and washed, either with regular wash or I painted them gray and then gave them a GW contrast paint wash. I have to fiddle with it. I don't like the way it comes out of the bottle. But if you thin it out a little bit, you actually get kind of a nice effect. And it gets these painted and ready for the table quick, and then I can always come back later and fiddle with them. So those are my named characters and the big fighters. And then I've got 2 Bakemono beaters. No, Bushi. Sorry, I just bought the cheap ones. So I'm using the guys with the 2 sizes as the 8-point Bushi. And I've got 2 Bakemono spearmen. So I'm running a Bakemono horde so I can summon in models that I don't have. Unfortunately, this is all I have painted, so I can't really increase my numbers any. Though I can replace losses amongst the, once I start losing my Bushi or I start losing my spearmen, I can replace losses or summon in something else. But since these are the only models I have, I'm kind of stuck. Let me see, is there anything else? Oh, the other thing is I did not take the Thousand Eyes. And my experience has been, I've run this, just a pure Bakemono only once, but I've also run it with the dogs once. And what I've discovered is I have so few activations, and group activation can be really cool. But when, running this with the Thousand Eyes theme, I would only have 2 activations for the whole army, which means my army, if he chooses to hold back, will be exhausted and out of moves before he has to actually move anything. He's got 3 pass tokens, so he could just go pass token, and now I am exhausted, and he could do whatever he wants. So I'm going to try it without the theme. In looking at the theme, the only thing I really don't get that it would be nice to have would be the coordinated attack. That would certainly be helpful with the Bakemono, but I think I give up too much. And especially with all of these objectives and anything. Actually, the mass movement for these objectives would be cool, because then I could turn a whole bunch in one activation. But I think long term, it's not a winning strategy, at least at my skill level. So there we go. This is the Savage Wave. Bakemono horde, but not with the Thousand Eyes theme. So everything's going to be moving individually. We'll see how it goes. Here is Carl's Syndicate army. Sorry, it took me a second to find that out. So I'm just going to let Carl walk you through it.
So it's pretty simple. I'm running 3 gals, 2 sumo, and a kami. So this Hanami, she's my most expensive gal. She's really handy because every time a model comes into base with her, I can spend a key and I get a control marker. These two are lower level. They're 13 and 14 points respectively, so they're not super expensive, but they're handy, and against models like Bakemono with low key statistics, they should be pretty nasty. Rocky is my absolute favorite kami ever. He does a whole bunch of nonsense with allowing me to reroll die, and he's only 8 points.
We're proxying Rocky, this idol for Rocky. We will get Rocky, but we haven't got him yet.
Yeah. This Molosi, he's the most aggressive sumo that my army has. And then this is Manu, he's the most defensive sumo that my army has. So they're the all of the fighting power in my force.
Right.
Aside from that, I've got 3 cards technically. Molosi has 2-headed coin, which to those of you who know the Syndicate rule automatically allows me to pass a fortune test, which means I get double key for a turn. Raise the stakes, which again, kind of an anti Bakemono trick is it's a single rice point, and then what it does is every single model has to spend a key if it wants to influence a scenario objective. And then inside information, which is I can choose one model in the starting phase to gain impetuous. That's it.
All right, thank you, Carl. All right, we're going to do our early game stuff. The first thing I need to do is place my totem, which needs to be within 3 inches of the center line and can't be closer than 6 inches from either edge. So I'm going to try to protect it a little bit by putting it in this water here. So there we go. And then we will be rolling for deployment. So I don't have tactician or anything like that. Thank you, Carl. So why don't we take a look? Carl gets a 1, I get a 4. So I am going to let Carl deploy first, and then we'll go from there. We are deployed. As you recall, I won the deployment tactical roll. So Carl deployed first. Let's go take a look. So he's got, let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. So what is that, Melosi?
That's Manu.
Manu. So Manu's with one of the gals. He's got another gal in the middle, and then Melosi and Raki, and then the other gal way over in the corner. So he is kind of, reasonably spread out across the, the entirety of the table. And then I also kind of spread myself out a little more specifically. I just got one of the Bushi over here, and then all of the rest of them just in a couple of groups here. So there's Track and Hiratsuna and Trepang right there. And the rest of them are, at least the Rincho, are pretty easy to tell because of their big fuzzy outfits. So there we are deployed. Carl, why don't we roll to see who gets the first real tactical roll. So we tie at 4. And Carl gets it at 6. Carl, do you want me to move first, or do you want to move first?
Why don't you go first?
All right, I will go first, and we will see you in a bit. End of turn 1. Both armies have moved forward. Nothing particularly interesting has happened. Let's start over on the right flank. I think that's Melosi is in base-to-base contact with that middle idol so he can start praying at it next turn. There's one of the gals has moved up to here. They're all sneaky. I have no idea what they're doing. This other gal is hidden, so she can pretty much ignore everything, and she's just walking towards the third idol. So that would be Carl's opposed idol, meaning that it'd be worth 3 points if he prays there. So I took 2 of my Bakemono and kind of boxed it in, so she can't. I think if she gets into my zone of control, then that will precipitate an action that would make her visible. So right now she's fine, but I think I protected that idol. But I haven't done anything to protect that one. So that one he can be prayed at for 2. And then over here, my ninja is hiding behind the bridge there. And then I've got a group of 4 Bakemono, including Track and Trepang, going after Manu and the gal that Manu is with. So we'll see, we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, no action yet. Nobody's throwing stones or arrows or anything like that. We're just kind of laying the land to see how things are going to be, and things look pretty interesting. So we will move on to turn 2, where I'm sure the action will get bloody. Carl's already chuckling about all the nasty things this army can do. So I guess we'll get to see them firsthand in just a minute. End of turn 2, things have gotten interesting. The gals, of course, are camouflaged, so they can just walk right into my midst, and we'll be manipulating this objective, praying at it for 3. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it, even though I'm just standing right there. And over here, Melosi's had this objective and prayed at it twice, so Carl has got 4 points on the table. So kind of giving up on protecting my objectives, I just took one of the Rincho and ran him back there. So not that Melosi couldn't come around and smear me all over the place next turn, but at least I'm in the backfield. And then over on this side, of course, this guy's just been throwing, or maybe this Melosi. I can't keep him straight. Anyway, this Sumo's just been throwing guys everywhere. So if you wonder why everybody's back away from him, is just he's been walking to combat, throwing people, walking to combat, throwing people. Again, there's another gal over there that's camouflaged I can't do anything with. Of course, Melosi I can't do anything with. So all I'm doing is I just have my couple of guys. This poor guy is frightened and prone. My other Rincho is fine. He's just over there. I took Trepang in the back and basically did the exact same thing that I did with the other Rincho, which is I just kind of ran around Melosi and put him back so that he can get back to that objective right there. And then you'll notice my ninja Hiratsuna is there. So Hiratsuna just kind of walked up to this side of the water and then ran over there, and then he prayed at that idol, so at least I have some points. So right now Carl's got 4 points to my 3. if I'm going to have any chance to win this, I just have to spend all of my points playing at 3-point idols. That's all I can really do. Since now he's played at 2-point idols twice. And then track hasn't really done much. He's just kind of there. I could pray at that idol, but I don't want to. I want to throw everything I have at the 3-point idols. So that's where I am. So track is probably going to try to get up on the bridges next turn, and then that'll give him some options. Of course, you know, with the Goyles where they are, there's just nothing I can do. I mean, the girls can wander around and cast spells all day, and they can't influence objectives, but they can cast spells all day. And there's just not a damn thing I can do about it. So I'm just kind of hanging out and trying my best. You know, I'm hoping this end around activity with him going back there, Hiritsuna going here, and then Trepang going back here and then coming around. I'm hoping I can put some pressure on those rearward idols, and at the very least keep him away from these until one of these girls pops, and then I'm going to have to jump on him. And at least I got a couple of Bakemono right there. If I can get one of my other Bakemono killed, so I have another model, or maybe tomorrow morning I'll get up early and quickly paint up another Bakemono so I can summon it in. That would actually be really funny. It's surprise him by painting up a Bakemono and say, oh wait, I can summon a Bakemono now. And that would make it. So yeah, I am definitely being hurt. I have all kinds of ki, but I'm being hindered by the fact that I can't summon extra Bakemono. Otherwise this would be nowhere near as difficult. So lesson, guys, if you're playing Bakemono and you want to play the Horde, make darn sure you have more Bakemono than you need. Unfortunately, I have just exactly the right number. So I suppose I could have taken something else. Maybe the dog. I could have taken the Alpha or something like that and not messed up this list. And then at least I'd have had 1 or 2 Bakemono that I could have pulled in. But so be it. Anyway, so it's close. I mean, there's no question his shenanigans are working really well. But I am not hopeless. I still have hope that if I can use all my prayer tokens on his objectives in the rear, then maybe I can get through this. So we are at the end of turn 3, and a lot has happened. As you can see, things are spread out all over the place. I think I pulled a fast one this turn. So early on, it was pretty clear that I wasn't going to be able to fight the sumo, because of course I have just Bakemono and they're just picking me up and throwing me around. They killed both my Rinsho, which are my best fighters, and the gals, until they reveal themselves, are immune to everything, so there's really nothing I can do there. So I just decided, all right, if that's the way it's going to be, I'm just going to say the heck with it and just try to scatter and avoid them, and just use the fact that I have a bunch of guys to try to outmaneuver them. And did a fairly good job in succeeding to do that. I actually snuck in this morning, and I went and I just threw together 3 of the new Bakemono from the new set. So the archer I haven't summoned in yet, but I did summon in one of the raiders, and I summoned in a beater, or yeah, I think a beater. So thank you, GCT, for making the new Bakemono models one piece, and so I could just stick them on a base and I'd be good to go. So I did take some casualties. I lost a spearman this turn, and I lost both of my my Rincho, and the Rincho are kind of a hard loss because they're not replaceable since they're not horde figures. But what happened that was good is, I don't know if you guys remember, but early on, Carl took Melosi over there and he prayed twice at the center idol for 2 points each. Well, I decided that there was just no way, I just, I can't fight the girls because they're, until they decide to do something, they're immobile, but they can position themselves like crazy, and I can't fight the sumo because they're just so much better than I am. So what I did is I just spread out and started activating idols, but I only activated the idols in the back. So I was able to get, just because of numbers, I got a Rincho there, who then summoned in a Bakemono, and then I got another model back there who summoned in a Bakemono. And I just started praying at these idols, and I was eventually able to, with activations to spare, I was able to get all 5 of my prayer tokens off at his 3-point idols. And because Carl had already spent a couple of his prayer tokens on 2 points, there's no way, that means I get the point on turn 4 and I'll get the point on turn 6, unless Carl can wipe me out. So right now, the reason this board looks as crazy as it is I am just scattering. Just imagine somebody turning on a light and cockroaches running for every dark corner they can find. That's exactly what I'm doing. I am occasionally turning idols, so it's not that I've given up on getting that 3rd victory point, but for the most part, I'm trying to preserve the one I will get on 4 and I will get on 6 if I'm still alive at that point. So you will see me summoning in, Carl will be killing all the Bakemono he can, and I will be summoning in all the Bakemono I can, again, just to outlast him. So anyway, it's been fun, it's been interesting. This gal is really good. I got lucky, she chased me down, and I got lucky she rolled a 1 on her attack, so she didn't do any damage. Otherwise, she ate the other spearmen. And then this one's ready. She hasn't revealed herself yet. I don't know what she's going to do. Oh, they have?
Well, not all of them. Those 2 have.
Okay, so these 2 are revealed, but I have Precious Little in the area. I've got that guy over there who's going to try to turn that. And of course, there's Melosi who's going to try to eat somebody. That guy's way in my corner. He's probably one of my insurance programs. So yeah, everybody's just kind of scattering and running, and we'll see. Carl's got far better fighters than I have, but like I said, rats scurrying around in every corner. It's going to be a little hard to track me down and kill me. So we're gonna keep going. So this is the end of turn 3. The first victory point will be handed out next turn, and we will see you then. All right, everyone, we're going to have to call this quits a little early, just because we have company coming over. It's still holiday season. So this is turn 4, not quite the end, unfortunately, but Carl's conceded, and it would be tricky for Carl to chase down and kill all these guys where I am knowingly just summoning in as many as I can. This turn 4, I could still summon in 2 of the Bakemono, and I'm going to be scattering them as much as possible. I have turned one of the Midland objectives to my favor. I would be suspicious if I could get the last point, but I think I can keep Bakemono alive, which would give me scenario points on turn 4 and turn 6. So I think if we played this out, I would probably end up with a 2-1 victory. So again, the Bakemono are interesting, just because you've got a lot of tricks, but you've got a lot of guys. And you put all your points into defense, and you can at least make them waste a couple of activations to kill you usually. And you can keep summoning in new guys. So obviously I have to still keep painting Bakemono, because right now I have 100 white rice list painted. So I'll have to get at least 2 or 3 more guys painted up. That'll be pretty easy, just so I can pull them in. Anyway, Carl, thank you for a good game. It was interesting. I like your army. It's really challenging. I just, the only thing that stopped me from getting annoyed is I had so many guys that it almost didn't matter what he did. You know, he was always charming my Bakemono and making me walk here and walk there and becoming losing, you know, proning me and throwing me around. But I just had so many guys that he couldn't do enough. Even if he incapacitated half of them, I still had the other half to do stuff with. So Bakemono are fun. They look cool. I love the way they look. So please forgive me for putting unpainted models on the table, but I needed them. You know, after the first 3 turns, I was like, oh, okay, I got to start summoning in guys, or this game's going to go downhill. So we will. I thank you for joining us. Please like and comment and subscribe. I always like hearing comments. And there will be more games soon. So I will thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time on Gitsapalooza.